Welcome back to the Ark Survival Guide. We are finally continuing our Valguero Guide series. Today we are going to teach you how to ride a Deinonychus. We had an episode recently where we showed you how to steal Deinonychus eggs very safely and how to raise them to adulthood. But today we are going to give you an in-depth tutorial on how to use a Deinonychus once you have one. Now, they're not incredibly intuitive and it takes some time to learn how to effectively use a Deinonychus, but they are an amazing dino once you figure it out. So today we are going to teach you how to climb like an expert and be able to scale tall cliffs and even redwood trees with a Deinonychus. We're also going to teach you about pack hunting and how to use a pack of Deinonychus as effectively as possible. We'll show you how to hunt large dinosaurs safely and how to use a variety of tactics to take down some of the biggest, most dangerous dinosaurs on Ark. And if you watch this video until the very end, we've got a couple extra secret techniques that we will teach you that will help you a lot in your Ark adventures if you like using a Deinonychus. So be sure to watch until the very end. This should be a very helpful guide. Now the first step in riding a Deinonychus is actually taming one, which is a lot more difficult than most dinosaurs. You have to find a Deinonychus egg, steal it from its parents, and survive the process, because its parents usually do not make that very easy. But I've got a really great trick that'll teach you how to get the parents out of the way so you can casually walk up and pick up as many Deinonychus eggs as you want. So be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for my entire guide on how to get Deinonychus eggs and raise them to adulthood. So during our last guide, we stole about 5 Deinonychus eggs and raised them all to adulthood. So we've got a pretty good pack of Deinonychus, and they actually all look really cool too. So the first thing I'm going to do is increase his stamina, because that is one of the most important stats for a Deinonychus. They need a lot of stamina because one of their big strengths is their mobility, and just about everything uses a lot of stamina with these guys. So Deinonychus can jump really well. They pretty much always jump forward a good ways and pretty high, and if you're running, they can jump even further. Now, their right trigger attack is their main attack, and when you hit something with it, it actually adds a debuff, which makes them bleed over time. It's a very small percentage of their health, but it is helpful, and they're really good for hit and run tactics because the enemy dino will continue to take bleed damage. Also, if you hit any vertical surface, you'll stick to it, like that tree I just stuck to. Now, you can actually jump further while you're running, and we can get some pretty good air just with a normal jump, and just by tapping the jump button. But if you hold down the jump button, if you look really closely, his wings will start to spread out a little bit. He'll kind of squat down. It's very hard to notice, but that will actually let him charge up his jump and jump even further. Now, as you can see there, you will actually see these little bite marks that'll pop up on big dinosaurs, and that means he's able to pounce on that dino. So if you just tap the jump button, he will pounce right up onto the side of the dinosaur and just stick to it as long as you want. If you jump again, you'll jump off and you can run away, but as long as I'm on this guy, I'm pretty safe, at least on this dinosaur. Some dinos can still hit you, and I can keep hitting the right trigger to continue to bite him and cause bleed damage. Now, you can jump on, do a bunch of bleeds, and then run away, especially if you're fighting like a T-Rex or something, but they're pretty effective, and you can take down some really big dinos with just one Deinonychus if you're really careful about it. Now, they don't have incredible health, so you do have to be careful you don't take too much damage, but if you're getting low, you can just jump off, run away, and then climb up a cliff and get away from the dino that's chasing you. So Deinonychus are really good for hit and run tactics. Now, the Deinonychus is a very fast and agile mount. In fact, it was literally made to make the chalk hills on Valguero lots of fun to run around on. Now, it can jump right across wide canyons, and it can climb up sheer cliff faces, but a lot of people really struggle with climbing with a Deinonychus because it takes a little bit of practice. Now, anytime you hit a vertical cliff or even a tree, you will automatically stick to it. And then from there, you can do a little bit of jumping and get yourself all the way up the cliff. Now, it's really hard to control at first. It takes a lot of practice, so we're going to teach you guys exactly how to maneuver while you're climbing cliff faces, even really weird ones like this one. So let's start with an easy cliff. This is a pretty normal vertical surface right here, and we are just going to jump and not touch any buttons until we stick to that cliff. We will automatically grab on, so don't tap the jump button more than once, otherwise you start doing some crazy stuff and jumping all over the place. Now, you've got to pay very close attention to where his head is facing, because that's the direction he's going to jump. So I'm going to play this back in slow motion so I can really tell you exactly what we're doing here so you can learn it yourself. Now your first jump, you can actually jump higher if you hold down the jump button a little bit longer, and once again we're not touching any buttons until he automatically attaches. Now pay close attention to where his head is pointing. If you point his head to the left or right using the camera controls, he's going to jump in that direction. It's a little hard to control, you got to be really light with the motion. But as long as you point his head in the upward direction, he'll keep climbing up. You can jump almost completely sideways. Now if we hold down the jump button, you can see his legs get a little closer together, and that means he's charging up his jump. And the longer you charge that, as soon as his legs get all the way into the center, he's ready for the maximum distance jump, and then he'll jump as far as possible. Now as you go over the edge of a cliff, he'll automatically jump forward, and that way you can kind of land on top. Now this is pretty hard to get used to at first, but once you practice a little bit, you'll be really good at it, and then you can go across the terrain really quickly with your Deinonychus. Now, one of the biggest benefits of Deinonychus is that they hunt in a pack, just like velociraptors or wolves. Now, you'll notice that if you've got, I think, 2 or more Deinonychus, the highest level will become the alpha, and his head starts kind of glowing with this orange glow. That means that Deinonychus is the alpha, and he's getting a buff to his stats because he's got the alpha buff. Now, we can play this up even more because if we've got a pack of Deinonychus with us, then we can increase our stats even further. So let me dump some of this extra weight because this Deinonychus is actually really overweight right now, and he'll move a lot faster once I get rid of some of this extra weight. There we go, that's much better. Now, when we're hunting with these guys, if we click the right stick or hit C on the keyboard if you're playing on PC, he'll roar, and then all the other dinos will roar too. And at that point, you get an even bigger status buff for, I think, 45 seconds. Now, I've got these guys on neutral now, and they are continuing to fight with me. And as you can see on this Bronto, they each jumped onto a different attach point, and they're all stuck to the Brontosaurus. Now, some of them will sit on the ground and just attack normally. Some of them will jump on, just depending on how big the dino is. But as you can see here, we are making really quick work of these very big and hard to kill dinosaurs. Deinonychus are basically designed to swarm big dinosaurs, and it makes it really hard for people to hurt them. Now you can just use the normal attacks with the right trigger, and that'll do their usual attack pattern, and that's great for taking down smaller animals. But, you know, these Doedicurus, they roll into a ball, and they're just hard to deal with. So we'll go ahead and attach to this guy, and I think the rest of the pack is just being a little weirded out because they're still technically in combat with that Doedicurus, but let's just put them on attack target here. Still getting used to the whistle commands with these guys. There we go. So when you've got the whole pack fighting, they just make really quick work of very big, dangerous dinosaurs. Now, players especially hate Deinonychus because just like you get those little teeth marks where you can attach to a dinosaur, you can also get the same thing will pop up on enemy players. So if you're playing PvP, a Deinonychus can pounce on a human the same way he jumps up and attaches to another dinosaur. You just tap the jump button and he'll fly across the screen and pounce on a person and pretty much immobilize them just like a velociraptor. So if you've got a decent pack of Deinonychus, especially if they're decent level, levels, you can just tear down pretty much everything in sight and totally overwhelm your enemies. The only trouble is, as far as I can tell, your Deinonychus that are following you will not jump along with you. So that's something you got to keep in mind. They'll just follow normally. So they're a lot less awesome for climbing stuff. So before we wrap up this episode, let me show you a cool little trick you can do. Now, let's say you've got your Deinonychus completely overweight like I do. I have 200 out of 150 pounds on him, and I'm also carrying another 60 pounds on my inventory, so he is really overweight. But the interesting thing about a Deinonychus is even if it's too overweight to move, it can still jump just like normal. Now, I can actually move really quickly just by jumping when I'm completely overweight to the point where I can't move at all. So if you load your Deinonychus and yourself up with maximum weight, you can still get around pretty effectively, and you can even climb right up cliffs and all that other stuff. So they're actually kind of effective as pack animals if you use this little exploit, and you can get all the way up a very tall cliff carrying hundreds of pounds of stuff. Now that's not a game breaker, but it is a very helpful little trick that I found out you can do. Well, that about wraps up our Deinonychus guide. I hope this was really helpful for you. Be sure to like this video if it was, and subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications if you have not done that already, because we release new guides, tips, and tricks about every couple of days, and we've also got a pretty fun Valguero live stream series going on where you can all interact with me, chat with me, and help me make decisions on our adventures together. So keep an eye out for those. You won't want to miss out on all of that. Also, drop a comment if this was helpful for you, or if you have any good tips for us on how to use a Deinonychus in Ark, or any other cool tricks. I learn a lot of really helpful information from all of you guys too. And if you want to see me in more videos, check out the link in the description for the console co-op couple channel that my wife and I play video games together on, and we should have some good videos coming out on that in the near future as well, and we would love it. It would help us out a lot if you'd subscribe over there too. So until next time, I hope you have lots of fun on your Ark adventures, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks so much for watching this video from the Ark Survival Guide. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more great guides like this one. Ark is an amazing game, but there is so much to learn before you can really enjoy it. We are dedicated to bringing you high-quality guides, tutorials, and Let's Play videos that are fun, helpful, clean, and suitable for the entire family. There's a tutorial in this series for everything we have done so far in this video. Check out these playlists for more episodes from this series and other guides to help you enjoy your journey on Ark.